What an uncertainty is going on in the markets. In today's video, we are going to have a look at Bitcoin's price action, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I think Bitcoin is actually going to break out to the upside and why the majority of the people in the markets right now are wrong. And I'm going to look at the various charts right here. We are going to have a look at the liquidation heat maps, will portal data. We're going to have a look at some betting statistics. So guys, let's jump straight into it. And guys, this video is brought to you by the Prime XBT exchange, and Prime XBT recently launched their crypto futures dashboard, which looks very similar as different exchanges such as Bybit or other centralized exchanges. Right now they have an action going on where you can actually try and predict the next president, and you just have to look at this tweet, fill in the form, and make sure to have an account over on Prime XBT, and you can get a share of a $1,000 prize pool. So if you're interested in that, check out more in the comment section down below. Now let's start with Bitcoin. And guys, I want to go with you first to the weekly time frame because there is something really interesting happening right here, and that is basically the following. So let me get rid of the drawings on the paper right here. And let me put the chart a little bit better. So what we can see right here is that basically the orange line, which you can see right here, is the 21 EMA ribbon. And the blue line is the 20-week simple moving average. And what we can see is that right now the EMA is going above, the orange one is going above the blue one. And previous times when we have seen similar situations, when the orange one goes above the blue one, we basically see an acceleration happening in the Bitcoin price. So for example, right here, we can also see the orange go above the blue one. This is basically showing us that on a weekly time scale, the momentum is still to the upside. So even though there's a lot of bearish news coming out, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I see Twitter is full of bearish tweets, the momentum is still possibly to the upside. And when we go to the daily time frame, and that might be also very interesting right here, is when we look at the daily time frame, let me bring up the drawings right here, we see that Bitcoin right now is at a crucial moment. We are testing the former resistance, hopefully as support, almost in our 60-day cycle low period right here, which basically starts tomorrow and maybe end in the next couple of days. So I expect to see a low in the Bitcoin price in the next coming days, maybe even tomorrow, maybe even tonight. Sometimes these lows coming one day earlier, one day later, so that's something we gotta watch out for. But so far it is, if we look at this 60-day cycle, so we just look from this low till almost the next low, then Bitcoin has been showing a lot of strength because we have been topping very late in that 60-day cycle. Normally we have, for example, like this 60-day cycle, this is the start, this is the end. Then you can see that Bitcoin around the middle of the cycle or even early in the cycle tops and then just corrects until the end of that 60-day cycle, doing something like this. So this is called a left translated cycle, because if you would put this thing in half, then it would top at the left part of the half of this whole cycle, of the 60-day cycle. But this one, if we look at this one, then this is basically topping in the right half of the cycle. That is bullish because that's showing us that there's just a lot of strength in Bitcoin. And although we are seeing now a bleed, Bitcoin is bleeding, and it might get a little bit more volatile, and we might see a further drop, still Bitcoin has shown a lot of strength. Now let's go have a look at some more data, guys, and I want to start off with, of course, the liquidation heat map. So let's go over there. That is right here on CoinGlass. We can see that the liquidity right now in terms of liquidation heat maps is above us, and this is very interesting because liquidity, maybe you have seen my liquidity heat maps video, but liquidity generally tends to act like a magnet. So what we can see right here, that on the longer term time frames, the liquidity is definitely to the upside. First liquidity is around $70,000, but the yellow liquidity, which means it's most concentrated, is at $73,000. If we zoom in right here, we can also see that if we go to the weekly time frame, liquidity is as well above us. If we go to the 3-day time frame, we have a little bit liquidity below us as $67,000, but you can see generally the liquidity is more above us. So this chart is also showing us that the chances of going up rather than down is higher. When we go to Will Portal, guys, we look at the data. I think this data profile is not looking too bad. So we had on top of this chart, you always have the buying and selling pressure, right? So we can actually get rid of the sentiment for now. And what we can see right here is that the selling pressure, Bitcoin is coming down when seeing selling pressure. But here you can see the selling pressure is decreasing. You see the red is becoming low intensity red. So that's what we see right here. Low intensity red, price goes up, right? So we want to see this coming down, and we want to see when this is coming down, we want to see this intensity red decreasing. If here it would be the same as here, if we would still have this high intensity red right here, then that would be a problem, like we have seen, for example, right here. So we have high intensity red coming down, still high intensity red. So we're still coming down until that intensity is lowered. And now we can also see that on the momentum indicators, we really came down. So there is also space, especially on the 4-hour time frame, to get some upwards momentum. Now, let's talk a little bit about the presidential election, guys. Who I think is going to win. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I personally think Donald Trump is going to win, and I definitely hope he's going to win, as I think this will be better for the United States and will be better for crypto. But yeah, in the long term, I don't think it has any effect on crypto in the markets. I don't think, like, for example, if Kamala would become president, that on the long term, crypto can't make it, right? So, but on the shorter term time frames, this is definitely different because there's a lot of anticipation and there will most likely be a lot of volatility coming up in the next couple of days. And I personally think that if Trump will win this election, we are going to see a short-term pump in the price. And I know this is kind of like what everyone is thinking. So I know I'm a little bit in the herd mentality right now, but I think this is such a significant situation that I do think that, yes, it will bring a lot of confidence to crypto. If Trump will win, I do expect a short-term pump because the emotional state of people will just go crazy, and a lot of investors, a lot of retail money will probably flow into Bitcoin, maybe into crypto in general, because Donald Trump has been very outspokenly being pro-crypto, right? Kamala Harris, maybe if she will become president, short-term time frame, we are going to see a dump. That doesn't mean that the bull market is over, but that might bring more ugly volatility in the shorter term time frame. But you can see right here that on betting sites like Polymarket, Donald Trump is definitely the favorite, and more people are betting on Donald Trump than they actually do on Kamala. So that is interesting to see. So guys, it's going to be very interesting how Bitcoin is going to react. Like I said, I think this is like, if we just look a little bit at the signals right here. So we have a consolidation of 6 months, broke out to the upside. Right, so there's definitely some bullish momentum. Right now we're having a breather, or we are having a correction, but okay, we are in that latest phase of the 60-day cycle. So when we are starting that next 60-day cycle, most of the time that will come with some nice move, some nice strength in the price. So that would be actually is lining up pretty good if you ask me. The liquidity on multiple time frames right here is definitely to the upside. If we have a look at, here you can see that, if we have a look at Will Portal, we can see selling pressures decreasing and momentum indicators definitely on the 4-hour time frame, creating some space for bullish momentum. So there's never certainty in the markets, and we should not want to chase any certainty, right? It's just a game of probabilities. But if I'm just trying to be as objective as possible on the Bitcoin price right here, analyzing what I'm seeing, taking all the data into consideration, I personally feel that right now the potential upside for Bitcoin probability-wise is way higher than to see a further big correction, or that we maybe have seen a bull market top right here. I don't think that's the case. It's possible. I think it has a lower probability scenario, maybe 20-25%. I don't exactly know, but I do think that going to the upside has a higher probability. But I'm also going to tell you guys that the probability will change if we do significantly break key support right here. So if we just have a fake out, like something like we have seen with gold as well. Can I bring up the gold chart? For example, right here with gold, where we break out to the upside, we roll a bit over that former resistance, and then we have like a fake out back into this channel and then just shoot up. So this is not a sustainable breakdown, right? So we want to see breakdown, retest, and then lose this low again. If something like this happens with Bitcoin, yes, probability wise that looks very ugly, and the probability of a bull market will significantly decrease if you ask me. But first of all, so far we haven't seen that, and second of all, it has to be a sustainable breakdown. So if we are dipping tomorrow because of the volatility, maybe somewhere in here get a liquidation event is possible, and then quickly reverse. This would actually be a very bullish scenario, because then we have a nice dip exactly in the time frame of the 60-day cycle low. We have a good reaction, a lot of liquidity is being picked up and is being sucked to the upside, and this would actually bring the perfect conditions of a nice long or actually short squeeze, because a lot of people will trying to short Bitcoin right here, which eventually will just drive the price up. So like I said, I'm very clear, guys. I think the price will go up in the next coming days after we hit the 60-day cycle low. We might get a volatility or liquidation event happening in between. I might be wrong, but the higher probability, in my opinion, is that we are going to see more upside. And I think eventually, once we break out here, like I said in today's video earlier, the rest of the crypto market will follow too. Guys, that was it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, make sure to smash up that like button. And yeah, check out Prime XBT if you want. I have a link down below in the description. Wish you all a beautiful day and hope to see every single one of you in the next video.